How you holding up, Gadget?
Yeah, holding up pretty well. I did actually have a 5 hour cast earlier on in the day, but I tell you what, this is the match which I've been looking out for the grand final. This is where we're going to see the hugest players from the hugest teams in Australian Hon, and I'm extremely excited for this second game in the best of three. Now I'm sure that Zenith Gaming, they're going to pull it all out here. They've lost the first one. This is a must win. So I'm sure we're going to see huge plays, potentially some sort of pretty big picks as well. And let's not forget Forgotten Gaming. They do have this game where they can, maybe try out some kind of slightly different strategies that they may have been practicing. Uh, they do have this game sort of that they can afford to, try out some crazy stuff and not really be punished too hard for it if they lose. So we're into the game now, and
I'm still
just
waiting to get in.
just waiting for the invite for Dan.
While you're waiting, everyone tuning in at home and on their mobile devices and on their smart tablets and through the twitch.tv/NFGDan. Um, oh, there we go. Getting in now. Take this time to grab a drink, grab a bite to eat, grab some noms. Head on over to twitter.com/NFGDan, youtube.com/GoGoGadgetLol, or of course just subscribe to us. You can also always head over to nonfictiongaming.com if you want to read some articles, catch up on some of the latest esports news. Up there as well is an interview I did with Breaky CPK earlier in the year, so you can always listen in on that while you're waiting. If you haven't gotten sick of my lovely voice yet, and you wanted to hear some American, but at what cost? And looks like we're in the match now. We're just waiting for the final people to join. KS for Life joining in here. And looks like we'll be getting underway very shortly.
Yeah, absolutely. We got Kaz for Life finally connected there. So looks like we're going to have Nosh joining us as an admin in the referee spot this game as well. So shout out to the big Noshes there. And yeah, ASD in the chat. I think that's one of the players here just saying that the delay was due to them trying to get a server. Of course, Australian servers do, do take a little bit of getting used to. You have to really be on your ball to try and snag them from the pub servers list. So it looks like we're just about to get this game underway.
And okay, looks like the game's getting underway here, and Nosh is going to be spectating as well, just so that there'll be no shady business going on. And obviously it is the grand final. There's money on the line here, so they definitely want to make sure that everything is going to get underway properly.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I'll just move these. There we go. So you guys can see the players. They're all in the match. They're ready to go. I know you're getting keen out there. We've got to wait that little bit longer, as a little bit of patience makes those Hon games that little bit better sometimes. Hon's like a fine wine. You got to let it age a little bit before you jump right in.
Certainly, I haven't heard that analogy before, Dan, but we can roll with it. Okay. King's AFK, so only King Dryhump, they're just waiting on him at the moment. So he actually has the lowest PSR of all of Forgotten Gaming. So a bit of a poor effort there, but not to worry. Still pretty decent, I
We
suppose.
see, as I mentioned last game, Harry Shell actually sitting below 1400. He's got these Will Smith Best Rapper 2012 swag tag on, and he's got his. So you have a look at some of his stats, just browse through. Likes playing Tempest, Ophelia. See what they end up going this match. And some readies coming out. Look like the readies are underway here, so we're going to go to the final showdown. Zenith Gaming versus Forgotten Gaming for the Cyber Gamer invite only. Heroes of New Earth Grand Final. I'm NFG Dan, here we've got GoGo Gadget, and we're getting underway finally.
Yeah, absolutely. So for this game, we're going to have obviously a swap up of the sides. Forgotten Gaming are going to be on the Legion side this game. Zenith Gaming on the Hellborn side. So they swap out on the side. Now, let's not forget, Zenith Gaming, when they were Hellborn in the semi-final, that is when they decided to call off their sneaky level 1 Kong. So, it would be great to see something like that in terms of a level 1 strategy from them, but we'll have to see. We've got the blind bands coming out, Warbeast and Keeper taken out there by Forgotten Gaming. Meanwhile, Zenith taken out rather, Tundra and Meraxis themselves, so really targeting those tanky initiators. I think a nice few bands by them.
Someone made a point in the chat. I think Forgotten Gaming need to win 3 more games in the lower bracket before they make it into Diamond. So, shout out to Mega Beaver for letting us know about that. Obviously, Forgotten Gaming has a little bit way to go before they get into Diamond, but it is huge. It is great to see another Australian team up there. Of course, Australia's been getting some recognition with TT Esports, but they are no longer a majority Oceanic team, having, I believe, 3 Yanks in their lineup. So.
Yeah.
But going,
I think.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, that's right. I'm just thinking they've even got one of their most popular members not actually able to attend DreamHon as well. So it's a bit of global Hon news. But meanwhile, we're actually going to have the locks coming out. Looks like Forgotten Gaming locking Fade, Bubbles, and Parasite. Meanwhile, Zenith Gaming taking into the locked pool Pebbles, Glacius, and the Plague Rider. So, some pretty similar locks here. We've got some of the kind of bursty gankers in the Fade and that Pebbles. Got some of the supports in the Glacius and Plague Rider. Parasite, obviously very popular jungler at the moment, and Bubbles. So, have to see what the bands are now, Dan.
Yeah, it'd be quite interesting. Actually, no friends locking that Pebbles, but they are the second pick, so that leaves it open for Forgotten Gaming. Either they think Forgotten's not going to need it, or that Forgotten's going to go straight for that Fade lineup. Both are very powerful, and both can do that similar kind of role, especially Fade coming in there, setting up those ganks, Pebbles doing a lot of damage. I think I prefer Pebbles. And obviously he has been banned in these previous matches, so with the bans changing around, he's able to get locked there. Warbeast and Keeper being locked by Legion. Obviously they don't want to come up against that Warbeast that they've seen Zenith run in the semi-finals of the Cybergamer Invite League. Tundra and Meraxis, pretty basic bans, or the blind bans of course, as they just don't want to come up against those initiators. They don't want to let Forgotten Gaming get them as a first pick. And the other bands coming out now, Polywog Priest, Ophelia, Nymphora, Dark Lady, and Jeruziah. July 29th banning that Polywog, obviously not wanting to give it to that Hellborn team, the Zenith Gaming again. Ophelia, pretty basic, obviously that jungler, powerful hero. Dark Lady and Magebane, very interesting though. Those sit back and farm carries, they're going to be off the board. But Silhouette is still available, and so are some others, so I'll be interested to see whether they do pick up that hard carry and go for that kind of lineup. And thanks, guys. A shout out to the casters. And what do you think of his first pick, this Tempest?
Yeah, well, I mean, first picking Tempest, it's a pretty unambiguous pick. Now, Zenith Gaming, they're going to know that FG are setting that Tempest, probably into the jungle. I think a solo lane Tempest might be a little bit too far to stretch of this game. So yeah, Tempest probably in the jungle. He's a safe jungle pick. Just offers so much with that elemental void. And it can really be devastating. From the early levels when he gets some ganks off, right throughout the game with that ultimate. So I think it's a good first pick there by Forgotten Gaming.
As you said, it's a bit of an unambiguous pick. I mean, it's very rare you're going to see Tempest go into an aggressive jungle lineup. I mean, rarely you might see him in a suicide role. But I think there's too many heroes in that lock pool to let them end up doing that, unless they were to go for something like a Parasite and a Bubbles. But it's very unlikely. Now, Magmus Engineer, I reckon we're going to see this in mid. I think we're going to see this Magmus, like we've seen the Magmus recently, getting that hatchet, getting that shield. That Magmus and the Engineer combo is huge. Obviously, Magmus stuns in, Cake Stun comes down as well, pushes them back, and that gives Magmus time to either Steam Bath or get a couple of auto attacks and get a block off, essentially, a body block. So I reckon they're going to see that in mid. Now, be interesting to see what the follow-up pick is here for Forgotten Gaming, where they end up going for a carry here, or whether they'll end up waiting and deciding to go just for a full gank team fight build, maybe with Bubbles and Plague Rider, or even Fade and Bubbles or something like that.
Yeah, interesting there. I mean, of course, they're going to need probably two solos, of course, with that Tempest jungle. So, Bubbles is in the log pool, so they might be thinking about something, as you said, like a carry at the moment. So I'd probably expect them, just looking at who's banned, etc., maybe just to pick up the Silo again, and they actually go with a Luna Tremble. So Tremble is a hero we have not seen in the competitive scene for a while, at least in the Cybergamer Invite League, if my memory serves me right. So that is a very interesting pick there by Forgotten Gaming. Now Tremble, he can, suicide decently with those webs. He can he can go into the mid lane, and that is probably where he's most popular as well. So we'll have to see what they do with him.
Yeah, definitely. I've seen Tremble get really big, potentially going that Mocha Brilliance route, but Zenith Gaming decided going for that Puppet Master, who can be a huge carry late game. Obviously, potentially getting a Harkins, something like a Genjuro as well, and even a Symbol of Rage. We've seen, I believe, for Raid Call and things like that, pick that up during some other tournaments. Still a very, very powerful hero, especially as he can hold people in place for that Magmus, for that Engineer. And he has a little bit of disable against the Tempest, obviously not much though. And they will pick up Fade, so they decided to go with the hero that they locked, Fade. Be interested to see whether the Forgotten Gaming picks up Pebbles here, or they go into the more support route and go for something like that Bubbles.
Yeah, I'd probably expect Forgotten Gaming at the moment. I mean, they've got that jungle in the Tempest. They've got Tremble, who's going to be looking to get farmed. Fade, who's going to be looking to get farmed as well. Be interesting to see, I suppose. A Tremble, a Luna lane might be necessary in mid, because I don't think Tremble's going to fare too well against NG Bubbles, but Pebbles is actually taken out there. By Harry Shell on Zenith Gaming's side. So looks like Plague Rider is going to be the pick there. I actually like the Plague Rider pick on Forgotten Gaming's side. It's going to let them send Plague Rider into the suicide lane, so they can have decent. The rest of the lanes can be pretty decent. Probably expect maybe even a fatal. No, it's hard to tell, because it's hard for Forgotten Gaming to send Tremble, potentially mid, where he could be facing off against a deadly combination of Magmus and Engie.
Yeah, you're definitely right there, and no matter where he goes, he's going to come up against a pretty strong lane, even if it is that Bubbles and the suicide. Hear a bit of noise in the background there for you. But yeah, even if it's against something like a Bubbles in a suicide lane, even with that Terror Mound, he's going to have a little bit of trouble. I would personally like to see him go mid as well, although, again, that Fade Luna combo might be more on the cards here, which I think it's going to be as we see the lanes match up. just a little bit. And Engineer, Puppet Master seem to be going bot currently, although Engineer might just be doing it to throw the ward down. Puppet Master and Magnus being nearby in case he runs into a little bit of trouble. There's not much Tremble can do at level 1 when it comes to getting aggressive. Plague Rider getting up there in the top lane, doing what he can. And pull up some of this, here we go. So yeah, that'll Luna fade, it looks like, in that middle lane. T Bizzle. And